welcome to a new episode of the Advancing Consciousness series with Franco Di Nicola. This is a place where people can come to gain further insight and clarity as to what is going on and how we can shift things on a personal and global level, while also accessing higher levels of consciousness and awareness. We bring this series to you free of charge so that many are able to access this information. And if you resonate with what Franco shares and you would like to support his work, contributions are welcomed and greatly appreciated. A link is in the description and will be provided in the chat if you feel guided to do so. Also, we have many previous workshops, such as the most recent, Actualizing Beyond Your Current State to Live Your New Reality, along with our membership program, Let's Talk About You, where like-minded people come together bi-weekly to talk about the topics requiring deeper understanding and clarity. All of these are available on Teachable, and we encourage you to check them out as they are great resources at very affordable prices to assist in better understanding this human experience. The Teachable link will also be provided in the chat and description. And lastly, don't forget to share. As more of us are coming together and creating a shift in oneself, the more effective it will be to shift things globally. Thank you for joining us and being part of this change. Enjoy today's broadcast.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Advancing Consciousness series. Today we get to play with episode 83, and again the topic is exactly what we need to play with these days, specifically with everything that's going on, even with the powerful energetic bursts that we've been getting on so many levels. So it's been playing out very much so on for so many people, including ourselves here, participating on this beautiful dance. So welcome. Let's get to play. I apologize for all the people that were on Facebook. It took us a little while to get on. For some reason, it didn't want to launch. And for the people that were on YouTube, thank you for your patience to wait and running through the introduction twice. And then the second time was actually longer. I will trim the excess once we are finished with the live stream today. So anyways, guys, let's get to play with getting lost in the emotional triggers. How many of you are getting lost in the emotional triggers? On the avalanche and all the stuff that's going on right now, people are feeling very intensely on so many levels with so many things playing out for themselves. Not only are, feeling the energies coming in and then being drained and also feeling in a way triggered. And a lot of times there's not even a point to understanding what the trigger is, because you're not really putting your finger on exactly what the story, program, belief system, or anything that is still residue in you that is getting triggered. And it's so easy to get lost in it. It's so easy to get caught up in the heaviness or the energies coming through and so forth. Not that the energies are heavy. What the energies are doing are boosting things and intensifying things so that, yes, we can see things. Yes, we are going through transformation and rewiring and so forth. But as that is happening, what is it doing? It's really unsettling a lot of the old program, stories, belief systems, and perceptions that we've had before, and also trapped emotional charges within ourselves. And it also, at times, because we've created all these multi-level connections to our lineage, to our family, to our friends, to our partners, to our kids, that those connections sometimes will trigger you. And not only is it triggering you, but you're kind of sensing and feeling with what they're going through. And in a way, we personalize it. And it doesn't matter, see, even if it's your own personal program, story, belief systems, an old part of you or anything like that, don't personalize anything, because what does that mean? We identify with it. Yes, we want to acknowledge that may have played out in your life, that there could have been a story that we've adopted and plugged into our reality and have been playing for a long time. Yes, absolutely, and we're not going to deny that, but we're going to acknowledge it. Yeah, great, that was an experience. Yes, that was something that we played with And it doesn't matter if it was an old experience that you had that's still playing out today. And what I mean by that is that we're still having all of that stuff coming to the surface, and we're kind of building our reality with always those ingredients in there. So right now, a lot of people are doing that. And with these energies are giving us the opportunity to be able to see these old ingredients, these old fragments of ourselves that we're still plugging in, and feeling that if we don't plug it in, that we're going to lose ourselves, or that in some ways, somehow you're going to not be able to function or something of that nature. And there is a lot of investment that we've put into all of our lives, because look at it, it doesn't matter what age you're in. You could be a young teenager, you can be in your mid-20s, or your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, and up to your 90s and 100s. It doesn't matter, or even beyond that, of course. But it doesn't matter how much time and energy and focus, how much your reality's been layered and layered on top of all of those years that you've played it out. Those all were beautiful aspects. All of it had brought you where you are today. And yes, you may feel worn out. Yes, you may feel overwhelmed. Yes, you may feel that somehow there's a heavy cloud. But that's really just a part of the process that's going on right now within all of us, to one degree or another. Of course, we're also experiencing the energies of the collective. And the energies of the collective are very polarized, very polarized. You're extremes that you cannot imagine, in a sense, because you're seeing it. You're seeing the old world, the old inverted 3D, 2D, and even going into 1D, and the old layers and systems and so forth put into place. And then there's you, awakening, shifting, bringing forth that new you. And those energies are a total mismatch. You see such difference, such polarity, such disconnect, because many of you have been feeling disconnected. Many of you have been feeling that, hey, I don't even belong here. I can't relate with what things are playing out right now. Why is that? Because you have changed and you're continuing to change. So you're going to see the collective reality is not a match for you. And that's okay to see that. Now, the trick to this, the key to understand in all of this, is that while we're looking at the world the way it is, with all its polarity and what we call the collective movie that is not matching you any longer, you want to pay attention what some of those trigger stories, programs, belief systems that come up, or even the energies that you may feel. And most of those energies I'm referring to is your emotional charges, the emotional heaviness and so forth, and at times emotional responses. A lot of cases that is the case. Emotional responses of reaction, of fear, anger, judgment, whatever, and feeling that part of it going through. So to look at those parts of it. So, observing it, yes, seeing it, allowing it to play out, but go into the observer state. You can make the statement very powerful. I choose to observe. I choose to see what's there. I choose to see and experience what's there so I can bring it to the form of completion. That way you allow it to come through. You're not resisting it, you're not fighting it, and you're not polarizing it even more or judging it in some way or another. Specifically judging whatever played out, or judging yourself, or even playing it out, because that's just kind of the old inverted matrix, old world that we've been playing with. So coming to that realization, it makes things a lot easier. One of the key things, and I will elaborate as we're going along, one of the things that we look at is to understand that here we are, we have come here, chosen to be here, to play it out fully. We are involved in all of this, and we've prepared ourselves for this, even though we're still going through the process. Yes, still going through, purging the old self, purging all our connections that were of that older dynamics, to be able to flow instead of being rigid, be able to flow rather than planning and structuring and looking at your past to project the future or anything of that nature, to be able to flow with every little change that's not only happening in your mindset, in your body, in your reality, in your connections, in your relationships, in your dynamics. to flow with it. And as we flow, as we breathe through it, and I know sometimes we relate to the idea that we have to breathe it because we're enduring it. It's not about enduring. Breathing the flow, riding the wave of sorts. And I've talked about this before in many other episodes and so forth, to ride the wave. But as we're riding the wave, we're improving our skill sets. We're bringing forth our skill sets. We're honing it and bringing it to the next level. So what we're going through right now is not only your purging of a personal nature, but you're also observing, and then some of us are so connected to others that we are kind of feeling what others around us that are so more intimately connected to you are going through. Some of them may not be reflecting it, but you're sensing it from them. Now, as you're going through this, to observe all of that. If it's yours, it's great, work on it. If it's others, it's like, okay, great, let's take a look at it. How can I be of service? Without trying to change any part of it. And by doing so, you let things unfold, because each and every one of us has to go through the process ourselves. Because as we do so, that's how we engage more empowerment. That's how we get to exercise our free will in its true state without, being convinced how to use it. But it also gives us our own capacities to shape our reality without having anybody else shape it for us. So, like this episode or all the episodes or anything else that's been shared, it's there to trigger your own knowing, memory, and so forth, and to encode and to raise the vibration. So you do that with others. Others can be, you can be doing it on social media, but you can be doing it in your own personal intimate relationships or partnerships or children relationship or connection to your siblings, to your families, and so forth. But it's just pure sharing, not getting engaged that you need to change it. You need to look at whatever choices they're making, and as much as it doesn't make sense to you, it makes sense to them at where they're at. So not to get engaged in it, but to share freely. If they're not receptive, you allow them to go through their experience. This way, we don't get lost in the emotional triggers. We don't get lost in the waves of the energies that are coming in. We see those waves of energies, we celebrate those waves of energy, we utilize those waves of energies, and we create a shift in ourselves in a very powerful way. And that's what's really taking place at this time, is really embodying every facet of that as we're going along. So what are we doing? What are we experiencing right now? We're experiencing another surge. And this surge here for the next couple of months, we're going to have many different surges as we're going along. It's giving us the opportunity to really step things up, because we're going to go into another stage going into September. And then, of course, October, November, December, they're all going to be very huge steps along the way before entering even 2022. And 2022 is going to be what it's going to be. We're still shaping that collectively at this point in time, including each moment how it's going to unfold along the way. So today, as we've chosen, we're going to play Getting Lost in our Emotional Triggers. And of course, we're going to do some Q&A after that. All right. So let me shrink this. So we're hoping that that's going to be big enough. Okay.
Why are you making it so small?
Well, I need to scribble around,
Okay,
Is that big enough?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's all we want. That big. Okay. So, no good?
No, it's good.
Okay. All right. I get my master person here telling me. Well, anyway, she's the eyes for you guys, because she gets to see what everybody else gets to see. So let me move this out of the way. Oops. All right. Just give me a second here. That look good? Let's move that there. Perfect. All right. Good. So let's play with the topic today. Getting lost. First thing, that was Kimberly's way of looking at it, because that's how she presented it, the topic today, saying getting lost. Yeah, What does that mean? Getting lost in the game, getting lost of everything that's playing out at this time. And it's so easy to get lost, get caught up on the wave, get caught up in whatever it is. Are we truly lost? No, it just feels that way. Our ego will make it look like that. In fact, it'll make us feel that we're stuck, that we're in the mud and we're sinking, or what other people refer to as quicksand. And we feel stuck there. We get lost in the waves. And what are we getting lost in? Our emotional triggers. Now, emotions are a bonus highlight of the human experience. That was always intended right from the beginning. It was intended to enhance our experiences, to really use emotions to embody every facet of the experience. That means that you are changing every part of your experience through emotions. When you go through the emotion of love, you can see how it changes your chemistry. It changes how you see, how you feel, how you respond. In fact, it actually changes even your, that's referred to the first time you're in love with someone. All of a sudden, the world changes. It's like you're putting on multicolored laser eyeballs with our glasses that actually let us see not even more than that. But it changes even your hunger patterns. It changes your energy, and you feel even excited to do things that you probably didn't feel so drawn to do before, or even felt that you didn't have the energy. So you can see what emotions do. Emotion enhances and brings the whole body into the experience. Now, of course, what happened when the inverted part of our operating system got put in and changed, the emotions, instead of enhancing our experience, turned out to become the driver. And this is why emotions are used and also have included different terminologies and different trigger points for our experience. So what happens is, instead of just enhancing our experience, it hijacks, like some people call it. It's part of the experience, part of the agreement, but what ends up happening with the emotions? The emotions override our higher consciousness, overrides rationality, overrides what's that word when people common sense. It overrides a lot of different things for us, because what happens? You get an emotion of fear, it changes everything. You get an emotion of anger, it changes everything. Not only are you not able to access any level of higher consciousness, maybe just a minuscule amount, if you even get to do that, depending on how deep you go in, you are basically now out of control. The emotions run you. Now, was that, oops, what am I doing here? Getting excited here, pushing buttons all the time. So the emotions end up running you, and not only that, you now have you go into automatic response, and it doesn't mean higher level of response. It is the conditioned programmed response. How much of you are embodied at that point? Only the emotion is the part that really runs every facet of it. And that's what we've been playing with for the longest time. Even the idea of love has been made conditional with different key points to have a certain response. That's what conditional love is about. Is it pure love? No. Is it our natural state? No. It is a programmed version of love, which is ego-based, which is fully plugged into the emotions, that can go from love to hate and indifference in the middle. What is that all about? Because that version of love was created as an overlay that in one way or another created a disconnect from our true essence. So you can be in love and you can be in hate a little later if it does not meet conditions, expectations, or anything of that nature. If you put guidelines and it doesn't match it or it gets violated, you go into hatred. You go into anger. You go into destruction. That's how far. I'm not saying all of you feel that, experience that, but for the majority, that's how it's programmed, and that's how many people go. Look at it. A couple come together, they fall in love, they create a live stream of some sort together, and then one violates it or one does not meet all the requirements. You go from love to no longer loving, and if somebody violates, it can go from love to hatred to total war. And you see this all the time. What happens with people? What is that? That's in the emotional component of the programmed love that is fully conditional, and it's not a pure sense, because in its true state, true love is a powerful emotion also, but that emotion is not governed by any conditions or rules. Pure love is always there. It is the beauty of seeing everything in its fullest dynamics. It does not put rules. It does not meet requirements, have requirements or conditions to be met. It sees it in perfection. Of course, at the same time, you have the choice how far engaged you will playing any part of the game anyways. That's the part of it. So we're talking about getting lost in the emotion where it drives you. It takes you out of the driver's seat, doesn't even put you in the passenger seat. When it fully triggers, it goes from passenger seat to the back seat into the trunk. And in some cases, in the frickin' trailer behind it. That's how far you can disconnect. So you're no longer driving any part of it, especially at its peak. So I'm talking about that so that we understand it. But that's the old you, the old version of you that you chose to have as part of an experience, but you're purging it right now. So as you're purging it, you may feel it. You may have those triggers. You may have all of that that's even stored in your body, because many of us store emotional charges in our body. We relate it to something in our body. That can create pain, discomfort. It can also create opportunities not to be able to feel whole, to feel comfortable in your body. And I know there are facilitators that help people release emotional charges, but we also have to go into looking at what that story that created that emotional charge is about. Because we've adopted something, we need to look at it and really reevaluate it and see if it actually serves us. Here is a little quick thing that you can do. Anything of the old world does not serve. If there's gained consciousness, gained wisdom, great. But if it's an old way of life, an old attachment that is emotionally charged, that is not in its pure state, then you know that it no longer serves. And that is what is purging from you. But it's also being purged by everyone around you to one degree or another. And it is being purged collectively. Even Gaia is purging older, lower, denser energies that it has absorbed from us, from all of us, over the last 10,000 years of each and every incarnation. So what is it doing? So as Gaia is purging it, planet Earth, all the sentient beings on the planet are assisting in the purging. Your body is purging, and this is why you feel a lot of the sensorial, intensified states within your body coming through, because that's purging too. Your human entity, which is the kind of the soul that has been reincarnated on planet Earth, is also purging old versions of you. We're talking 10,000 years of versions of itself as a human. And then you're multidimensional, maybe purging stuff that it may have picked up in other incarnations on this planet, but also on other planetary playgrounds. So there's so much purging going on. But we're being assisted. We're assisted energetically on so many levels. And this is why we feel it. So every time there's a burst, it stirs up the pot. It stirs up everything just to come to the surface and so forth. And we just kind of observe it, acknowledge it, thank it, love it, breathe it out. I free you. And let's go play. All right. So getting lost in the emotion, those triggers. So that's our title. So many of us get lost in the emotional triggers. It's not just you. It's not just me or someone else. We all do to some degree or another. Sometimes we get lost and we go for a long duration. Sometimes we go for a very short duration. Sometimes we don't for a while and then we go through it. We can get lost. All of us do in one way or another. We think we got it. We think that we've cleared everything out. And another wave comes along, and guess what happens to that wave? That wave is another stirring that happens up, and it's only just to bring in some of the deeper parts that are filling it. And sometimes it's also connected to our energy bodies, and are connected to our bodies itself that has been stored somewhere in your body. So it's just coming to the surface. So yeah, we may feel physical sensations and pains and old, what people call wounds or whatever it is. We may feel that, but we're going to feel a lot of other things that we're going in. But that is something that we're all doing to one degree or another. Now, some people are more committed to it, others are not at all, and some are kind of, I'll go for the different waves, I'm in no hurry. Most of us that have taken a role to be participating in a powerful way and be part of that transformation, kind of put the roller skates on or whatever you want to call it and are speeding things up in a very powerful way. So you're going to have many of them one after the other. But the thing is, the beauty, the one, as they're coming faster and faster through you, and you'll see that they don't last as long, but just the fact they're coming faster and faster, that is a commitment to you that you've committed to speed things up, to be able to do it much more effectively than before. And you are also very committed to purge everything of your old self so that your new self, your true self, is coming to the top or to the surface or emerging from you and being birthed through you. So right now, it's so easy to go for quite an emotional and energetic ride and to slide into some interesting lows. How many of you, with these waves that are coming in, you go into a low vibrationally, low in a state where you're feeling emotionally drained, physically drained, get everything irritates you, everything triggers you. And we go into that. Some people call it depression. Some people call it overwhelm. Some people call it frustration, or all of the above. Many, many versions of that. And it's so easy right now because every time another wave comes in, it will stir things up and it becomes an energetic ride. And we go for it in and out and so forth. And some of us feel that, hey, I can't go to those lows again. I've been there and so forth. And then you see yourself there. It's only temporary. That's the part we got to keep in mind. It's temporary. But why are you there? Well, it's time to look at it. Let's see, it's a visit there. You're not going to bring yourself to a low unless it serves in one way or another. You're not going to bring yourself to a low unless in some way or another it's going to propel you forward in a big way. That's the thing we need to understand. We do not bring things to set us back, even when we open the door for negative energies, negative role players to come in. It's not about the setback, and it may look like a setback, it may feel like a setback, but it allows us to go into discovering things that we haven't been able to discover so that we can play with it, advance through it, and then be able to really move forward in a big, powerful way. And that's what we have chosen to do. All of it is all designed by you, even though you may not be consciously aware, to assist you, to facilitate you, and to really get things rolling in a big way. Okay, so as we continue to purge our old self, and that's what we're doing, we're purging the old self. And I want to remind you, because I've said this before, and the old self is the self that got conditioned, programmed in your life from birth till now. That old self is anything that was created in the inverted matrix, inverted 3D, 2D, 1D. That old self was having the experience when all of that was active. But not only having the experience, being programmed and conditioned by those guidelines, by those rules, by those parameters. We took all of that in and we established a particular reality. And that's what we are, or have been doing, and that's what we're doing. So as we continue to purge that old self and all the related stories, because we all have stories. To have trauma, you have to have a story, and you have to have a justification or judgment about the story. You have to have a story that supports it. Okay? And as you purge the old self, you're purging old stories, old ideas of you, old labels of you, definitions of you. I'm not good enough, I'm a failure, I'm this, I'm that, I am emotional, I am a destructor. These are just some of the stories we have of ourselves. Those are labels and definitions. That goes too. You can't let go of the old versions and keep any of that, because those were part of the old experience. It was the part that actually made the old version of you. That's what it is. So we're letting all of that go. So all the related stories and emotional charges. There's a lot of emotional charges that go into our experience. As we have an experience and we apply a label, a story, or anything of that nature, because our ego is so beautifully working with us to create that reality, it's going to plug an emotional charge. Why? And I've said it many times. To really make it real, to really feel it, every fiber of you, every expression of you. So you're feeling it from a body level, from all other energetic level, astral level, all levels are involved. All of it is in it. So the emotional charges are the emotional charges that we have as a pattern response, but we also have emotional charges that a lot of times we end up locking up in our bodies. And that is also going too. So as we're going that, it can feel somewhat intense. I don't know if anybody feels that intensity. Do you, Miss Kimberly?
That's feeling that intensity?
Yes. No.
Feeling it.
Nobody's feeling intensity. It's easy.
Cake.
Piece of cake, like she's saying here. Yes, it's intense. Absolutely. It can really, sometimes it reaches new levels of intensities. That's a time for celebration, a time to fly, because those intensities are you in action, you doing what you need to be doing to purge and clear and let go of all parts of you so that the you that is ready to shine comes through. That's the beauty of it. All right, let's clean up our little thing here. Okay, so a clarifying statement, and I know I mentioned it, all of it is part of the process. Okay? What we're going through is all part of the process. We've all agreed to process. We've all agreed to bring it forth at whatever speed that you feel. Sometimes you may not be conscious of it. The ego is going to say, oh, we didn't agree to this. No, why is it going on? I never agreed to this. I thought it was going to be a lot milder. You're the one that turns it on and off. Every part of it. And you are the one. So all of this is part of the process. However, this is the thing we have to imagine, to understand here. The stickiness, and things can get sticky, the stickiness and the duration will depend on how hard we are holding on to the old self and stories. The more you hang on to the old you for dear life, the stickier, the harder, and the intense it's going to feel. And it will take longer. The surrendering really means, in its pure state, surrendering and letting go of your old you, old stories, definitions, labels, old connections, old ideas of what a relationship is like, or your career, work, or whatever you have adopted as a value point in your life. It's all of that. All of it is involved. Every part of it. Not just a small part, all of it. So the duration, the stickiness, is how hard are you holding on to your old self and stories. Keep that in mind. If it's really intense, what am I holding on to? What am I holding on to, dear life? I don't want to let it go. And that's what makes it. But you know, the thing is, the intensities are getting to the point where you cannot hold on and you say, okay, I let go. And I flow. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask as a question, what about when people are in chronic pain or have other physical issues that are plaguing them?
Come on up, my lovely lady.
Because that makes it hard too, when we can get lost in that.
Absolutely.
As well.
Absolutely. And that can be a very powerful distraction at times, but it's also an opportunity to look at what's involved behind it, what is attached to it, what the storyline is all about, but at the same time, how much resistance is being applied to an idea of how things need to be. Could be an old idea, could be an idea that we've just picked up and not let go and let flow, like they say, let go and let flow. But a lot of times the pain and discomfort is a reflection of certain rigidity, certain patterns that we locked into, and it can be also something that is attached to what we have not let go of our old life, meaning something that may have happened to us as a child or any part of our journey at this point in time. Now, we may have related stories, meaning that if I hold on to this, that I have a certain benefit. Now, of course, some people will say, well, what benefit could I possibly have? Well, a lot of people do, and working with people for 36, 37 years, I found that there's a lot of justification made to hold on to, say, pain, ailments, or discomfort, because that meant a sense of freedom to a perceived idea of responsibility, a perceived idea that if I am well, I don't have people loving me. If I am well, then I'm not going to be no longer having the excuse to do something. I'm not saying this is always across the board, because there are many, many different facets of that. Some of us may even take it on and saying, well, I want to have that experience and transmute it for a collective or from the lineage or anything of that nature, but you may be having a little bit of a challenge because of it. And the challenge may be you're relating it personally, saying, okay, well, what am I doing? Or anything of that nature. Now, part of that is true because you want to look at, why am I holding on to it? Let me take a look at the bigger picture here. Does it need to be hard? Does it need to be this vivid where it has to dominate my life? So you got to get to a point where you also get, if it's there, I welcome it. I can have a conversation with it. It can share what it needs to share. I can make adjustments accordingly. And I'm prepared to flow with it. But at the same time, I'm not going to make it a big distraction. I will still do what I need to do. And then you will know that that starts to not only rewire you from a cellular structure of what we call information from your physical part, but it also changes your energy, emotional operating system, your processing system, and that's connected to others in your life that you have some connections to, could be from your lineage and so forth, and also the collective. Some of us are working through the collective part, but a lot of us are also dealing with our own personal stuff. The majority is personal, but there's others that are doing it also from a collective perspective. But you can derive that in your own communication, where you sit with, say, chronic pain and have a conversation. It's not why, and I need to fix this and so forth. And I know that feeling and that experience because I've had it myself many times. It's not something new, in that regard. But to really have that communication, say, okay, how could I be of service to, not to judge it that it's good or bad or right or wrong, or to get caught up in it, but to say, okay, how could it be of service at this point in time? What do I need to see? How do I reprocess this so that not only it enhances myself, but it's also usable for the collective? And in your case, could be collective, could be with the people you're going to interact with, could be the lineage, of course, but it can be just personal, and that's okay. We have experiences that we encode or bring forth as part of our journey for whatever we need. Now, some of us have believed that you need to be punished or something of that nature. That's a story program belief system, and then you're going to enact it. But it's like a prison sentence. You can be in the prison, but you're always free to go. The moment you say, okay, I'm done with this, that's fine. I don't need to continue punishing myself for, maybe a past life, maybe what you've done in this life. Hey, you have to understand, whatever you've done in this life is perfect. What you've done in past life is perfect. Doesn't matter how dark, how polarized, how intense it may have been that created pain, discomfort, or anything else that we have adopted to as for others. It still was perfect because this is a game. We're playing together. We're playing polarity roles and so forth. And we have all had turns to play various roles. Now, of course, things are very different at this point in time because, that is no longer a requirement. However, there are others that have chosen to continue to play for it for all the people that are still requiring it until they can get that part. Go ahead.
Jenny is just asking, is it possible to transmute all pain?
Not if your name is Jenny, because Jennies come with pain. Yes, I'm just teasing. We can transmute anything and everything. We're not here to suffer. We may have an agreement to experience suffering to the point of it becomes elation, where it becomes excitement, where it becomes feeling alive. But at the same time, the transmuting is, first of all, acknowledging its presence. Be present, invited to be there for you. Have a relationship. Let's communicate. Let's share. Let's be together. And then look at it. Thank it. Thank it for what it's provided. Thank it for whatever stories it's brought up, for whatever enrichment that it may have brought in, or even the opposite to that. Great. I appreciate you. I thank you. I mean it from the bottom of your heart, like the people like to say it, from your heart level. That means from your whole being. When we are resisting it or trying to squash it or something of that nature, yes, it's going to be times that it's going to be uncomfortable, and you may want to do something to lower it or something of that nature. I'm very aware of that because there are times I do that myself to be able to do this. But at the same time, allow it to be there to its fullest degree. When you make a relationship with the pain or the discomfort that you're having, and you appreciate it and love it, thank it with that love, and be open for what it shares with you. You can say, instead of saying why, please share what you have to offer. Please share some clarity that I may not be aware of, or I've heard, or I've seen, and probably denied or discounted because I was coming from a different approach. Please share with me, what is the message you are providing? We are one here. We're playing together. You can even ask the pain, do you really need to be in my life? Do you really need to live as part of my experience? And if so, ask. I'd love to have a clarity on the reason and how I can be more involved to be able to bring that to a point of saturation and completion so that we can play on a different dynamics. Go ahead.
Would it work if you made pain like a separate entity in a way that you, like you say, you're communicating with, so you can detach from it in a different way and not have it trigger emotional stuff? Like, or if it does trigger emotional things, then you have to look at the emotional triggers your pain is bringing up for you.
Yeah, well, if the reason that emotional pain will come up or emotions will come up because of somehow that pain has a story attached to it. Or maybe, and that's not always the case, because at times what happens is the pain is only the trigger to bring something up. So it may not be tied up with the pain, but because of the pain, it brings up another story. Because of feeling disempowered or feeling that pain is running your life, it may bring up a story. So you want to look at that. And of course, like I said many, many times on many of the workshops and also a lot of the episodes, write it all down, what it is. A lot of people say, I'm going to do it, but they don't do it, or they do it half-assed, like some people say it, or just partially, and then not continue with it. You want to get to, this is a project. This is the time. Take the time to play with it. Because the thing is, if you keep shelving it or putting it aside for another time, it's just going to continue to be there. And then some days it's going to push you even harder, especially with every little wave that comes along. It's going to stimulate it even further. Say, hey, come on, we need to look at this and let's move on. So that's really what occurs with all of this. So like Kimberly was saying, you can see it as another aspect of you. Okay, have the communication. It's like a child part of you, not a child as you say, okay, it's less than, or I have to teach it, or anything of that nature. No, see it as another version of you and have a conversation like you would have with a partner or with a friend or with somebody else. Have that communication. Have the communication as you're seeing a therapist of some sort. I'm saying with your pain, being the therapist or whatever it is. Hey, by just bringing in, listen, pain, you're here. I know you dropped by, and yeah, you may have been here for a while, and yes, you may have brought other malfunctionalities in the body, but you're here. You have definitely something to offer. Yes, you have something that maybe I need to be looking at that I'm not still seeing. I would love your clarity, your sharing, for me to see it, see what you have to offer. You're a visitor as part of my experience. Yes, you're still part of me, absolutely, because there's nothing outside of me. But to bring that level of accentuation, there's definitely, you want my attention. So I am willing to listen to you. I am listening. I'm willing to communicate with you. Let's play together. Let's go in discovery. Let's discover what's going on and do it that way. See, this part, I suggest you listen to it a few times and write it out and then take the action to do it, because this is my higher self, our highest self, whatever, sharing these tools. And I'm going to listen to myself too, because I have certain things I got to play with too. But in a sense, use this as a tool, because that's what it is. It's a tool for you to use. It's up to you what you do with it, but it's still a tool. Used effectively, used fully, and you can even expand it from there. It's going to speed things through to make changes in your body and in your life. Go ahead. That's it? Was there any?
So you're just basically having a relationship with your pain in a way that, so you can communicate, you're not hating it, you're not being mad at it, you are welcoming it and saying, okay, what do you need to teach me?
Yeah. You don't want an unwelcome guest.
No.
You don't want to see it as an unwelcome guest that you're trying to find every which way to kick it out, or to do, to suffocate it, or do something of that nature.
Eradicate it.
Eradicate it. That's
So,
you don't like suffocate?
no.
Eradicate. Okay.
Eradicate it.
All right. Okay. We have invested so much in our old life and all the related connections that the tendency of letting it all go can seem somewhat scary. How many times have I heard from people saying, this is the only life I know. I've lived X amount of years this way. I have worked, I have invested, I have planned, I have set goals, I have acquired stuff, I've made connections with people, I have certain things in my life. And if I have to let my old life go, I may not have the same appreciation for all of this, and maybe all of that stuff I will want to let it go. And I don't know what life looks like without it. I've heard it from people many times. I want change. I want change in the world. Yeah, I want the economy, or what do you call the money system to collapse. I want, things to be this way or that way. I want to see these changes. But when it comes to the bottom part of this, when they're looking at it and say, well, but I don't want to lose all the things I've invested in and I worked on. I want to make sure I can get all of that, put it in my little nest egg, and then the whole world can fall apart and restructure. But I still have my little thing. Well, it doesn't quite work that way, because you're still in the driver's seat of that experience, and whatever you've invested in from a mind perspective, and also the labels, definitions, and so forth, are, if you're going to let it go, you let it go, all of it. And you say, well, okay, it's going to go wherever it's going to go. I'm not saying you have to throw everything out. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is to be okay to let it go whatever way it needs to let go. So the thing is, the investment is not only money. The investment is also time. Relationships is another one that's huge. You may have invested yourself in a career, a life stream, a certain possession, you name it. Stature, labels of who you are in the eyes of others. Your credibility. There's so many things that we invest in. Investing in feeling good, feeling that I'm accomplished, that in some way everything that I've done, I am now a somebody. A somebody. How can I let go of being a somebody? Or let go of the stature? You know how many people retire or let go of a career and then say, I don't even know who I am anymore, because all I knew was what I've been doing all these years. All I know is those letters behind my name. All I know is my achievements. All I know is what people looked at me and said, this is who you are. So when that starts to crumble, then you say, I don't know who I am. But you know what the beauty of all of that is? The moment all of those things fade away, you're everything. You are pure potentiality. You have no confines, no limits. You're completely fluid. You can go into absolute play. Your experience is enriched. your experiences expand. The variety of experiences expands. Your connections, your relationships, or anything of that nature reaches such levels that you have, how can I say, experiences that could not be achieved otherwise. That's what it is. So it's about letting the investment be okay what it is. The investment in that old life is saying, okay, great. Those connections, those relationships, great. But I'm okay because I'm not going to play the scary cat. I'm embracing every part of it because I'm going to have fun with all of this. And that's what you do. Very cool, isn't it? Don't you think so? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. All right. So, many of us have been program conditioned with fear of the unknown and entering uncharted territory. I covered a lot of it earlier as we were discussing, as I was sharing what we were sharing. You know, we're looking at the fear of the unknown. Where does that fear come from? Let's ask that question. Where does that fear come from, the fear of the unknown? Let me ask the question, and you answer it to yourself. Does the fear of the unknown come from you? From your higher aspects? From your own physicality, its innate consciousness? Does it come from your human entity, multidimensional soul, your overall consciousness? Does it come from any of that? Or does it come from this? The ego. The ego really plays with this one big time. The fear of the unknown. Well, we know where we are now. It may suck big time. It may be intense. It may no longer match ourselves. But we know how it feels, as yucky as it may feel. Or in some cases, it may feel pretty good. Who knows? But you don't know what's out there. If you let this go, you don't know what's going to be next. So I'm here. Ego says, I'm here to protect you. Protect you. So we're going to stay in the known. We're going to look at the map. We're going to follow every part of the map because there's already a map that we've been working on. And the map is from what we've derived from the past, what we've derived from others that have gone on that path. And that's where we want to stick to. And that's what it says. So it creates the fear of unknown to stop us, to distract us, to derail us from going into pure potentiality, pure creation, pure playfulness, pure flow. Because the ego likes boxes, reinforces the boxes, and really defines every part of that box. That way of life. You go in here. And I, ego, solemnly swear and commit to keep you safe in this little box. And it doesn't matter if it gets a little stagnant, stinky, worn out, known of interest any longer. But you're safe. You're safe. Safe. Look at the safety idea that's being thrown around because of some idea that there's something that's gonna kill you, and now you got to get jabbicated, and you need to, eradicate it and do a bunch of other cadets under the banner of safe. So it's not only your ego, it's other people's egos, other systems in that inverted matrix. But what happens? Safety equals limits. That's what it equals. Equals limits. Equals small. Non-exploration, non-movement, or very minimal movement. That's what it represents. And that's why it uses the unknown to play all of this out. Pretty cool. Uncharted territories. What is it going to say? The world is not the same. It's not normal. It's not what we're used to. The energies are different. The people are acting different. The rulers, fictional or otherwise, they're all fictional anyways, self-appointed, are doing all of these things, limits and so forth. All of this is getting plugged in. What are we doing? We're limiting our movement. So it's uncharted territories. We don't know what it's going to look like tomorrow. If all of this collapses, what are we going to do? Of course, if we refer to the past, we could all starve. We could all be in hellish experience. We can all be third world country, totally enslaved or something of that nature, because it's uncharted territory. But under the banner of safety, or you're going to be safe, we're going to map out the territory. But that's not how we are designed. That's not how you are choosing to play anymore. Not at all. What we're choosing to play now, what we are choosing to do now, is to go into that uncharted territory. Because when you're on uncharted territory, you design the territory moment by moment. You shape every part of it. You use your creativity, you use your imagination to really design your movement forward on the playground. This is where you get to use more of you. You get to express and experience more of you and have a blast along the way. Go ahead, Kimberly.
Question from Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
My big emotional trigger right now is survival fears. Sometimes I don't feel like I have the space to hold the level of primal fears and stay regulated. Yesterday was so intense facing these primal fears. Would you comment on this? Any suggestions? And then she says, yes, feels very uncharted. A friend promotes fear of food, water shortages, etc., and then I get triggered. Tried to avoid such news, but then I was running from the fear, which was just made it more powerful. Friend offers to protect me as she has gathered dear supply of food, etc., and is willing to live on my land. Yet being with her, hard for me to create the new.
Well, it doesn't matter who you're with, what you engage with, or anything of that nature. If you give yourself to that state of mind, then creating new is going to be challenging because you're buying into it and you're now aligning to that. You can be in that environment of whatever that is, but also create brand new because you're not limited there. It doesn't matter where you are. You're not limited to that. Yes, survival and fear is huge. And it's hugely projected through media, through every outlet, by others, and so forth. The fear of a virus, the fear of starvation, the fear of lack, the fear of things crumbling and not having access to what we got accustomed to, the fear of losing people, the fear of losing yourself, the fear of losing your stuff. Okay? That's basically this on steroids. It's last-ditch effort as much as possible. I know we've lived under this banner for the longest time, absolutely, but it's coming to the surface more and more. So the question you have to ask yourself is, okay, I got survival and fear really coming up. Come on in, I welcome you. I acknowledge survival and fear program. I know I've been conditioned, programmed, and reinforced for that. I welcome you, I see you, I look at you. I am totally open to you. And I thank you for that experience. I thank you for that inverted 3D, 2D, inverted matrix, and all of that stuff that we played with. And I thank you, I love you, and I appreciate you in every facet of all that. But I'm now making a new choice. My choice is, as much as you've been part of my life, as much as you governed my life, I choose now to do something else. I now choose to flourish. I choose to be free, and knowing that I am a creator, I will only create what serves me best, what serves me where I am right now. So, what I would also suggest, these statements you make, but I also would suggest is get a piece of paper, big one, write down survival and fear. What does that mean to you? Look at all the stories, programs, belief systems that are attached to survival and fear for you. So there's no more food. What happens? What happens? Ask yourself, what happens? So there's no more food or restricted food. Can I change the functionality of my body where I need way less food or no food, where I can become a breatharian? Or the fact that I will have all the food that I need, when I need it, how I need it, that's going to serve my body. That is still your creation. The survival and fear is the old system. The old system that we have to have a food chain, or what we call a food, what do they call it? Infrastructure of some sort, where things are coming in from all over the world and whatever else. That we need this infrastructure, that we need to have security in the sense of, yeah, the farmers are doing their part and the environment's doing their part, so it has an opportunity for having the right amount of rain and sunshine and so forth to be able to do that, or the fact of all the other stuff that's being involved. Of course, now all of that is being challenged, okay? Purposely, of course, through the role players to bring us this reinforcement of fear and survival, that it's, arranging things that maybe the supplies are going to start to shorten off. And of course, if we're still deep in fear and survival, we're going to panic. We're going to go crazy, stock up, do whatever. Like your friend that, has a 1 year worth of provision. That's great. Somebody showed up to share you that provision. You created that. That neighbor didn't have to invite you. Did not have to save you. Not that that is the case. That's just the illusionary part. But you have that. That's you in action. Say, okay, I'm going to put that there. But however, at the same time, how do I really want to experience it? I don't want to experience the shortage anyways without dependency on others. So I'm going to structure it in such a way that these resources are there. But I also have that as another door. It's there. It's not like it's not there. You can see how many arrangements we can make. So yeah, you want to look at what's attached to your survival, because the survival is not always the food thing. It could be food, it can be shelter, it could be lots of different other things that we have an idea. Having certain individuals in our lives, having resources like money or whatever it is, or medical attention or whatever. There's many, 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 many things we can apply to the whole idea of survival. I need to have all of those things. So the unknown in our natural state, every part of us except for the ego is celebrated. It's like, free. I don't have any barriers. I don't have to even refer to how I have experienced life before. Uncharted territories, excitement, discovery, creativity, imagination, higher expression of self. All of that. Okay. Gonna wipe that out and put a fresh one. Well, that's interesting. How did that get over there? Interesting. Very interesting. All right. You get me all excited here today.
Okay, good.
Okay. So, just as a reminder, we have been so well trained and conditioned to map out our life that we have reduced. So let's stop there for a second. We've been so programmed and trained to map up and conditioned to map out our life, to plan it out, strategize it, have an end goal, have a path, shape it all step of the way, invest in yourself, sacrifice, do whatever. We've been conditioned for that from the moment you were the smallest kid that could understand anything. What did our parents do? It was all to do with survival. All to do with, if we don't do this, you're not going to survive. You're not going to be able to live life. You're not going to have anything. You're not going to mount anything. You're not going to be able to enjoy life. Education does the same thing, cookie cutter or not. Conditioned to map out your life. Even setting specific goals and working towards it. May have worked at one point in time because things were changing very slowly. It doesn't work so much now. Yeah, you can set your goals, you can map it out, but you're going to have to review it on a regular basis. Not only review it, you got to be fully open to allow whatever adjustments going on, because right now, every little wave that comes along changes you, changes your energy, changes your operating system, changes even potentialities that you would even put interest in. You may have thought it was a great idea, but now it's no longer a great idea, and that was only 24 hours later. You can see, I'm just giving you an example. So the thing is, don't invest a tremendous amount of time to map out anything. This is my intention. This is what I see from this viewpoint right now, what I kind of see me doing. But I'm open. I am free to let whatever I create from a higher aspect of myself, being the highest aspect of myself, that is going to be moment by moment with perfect alignment with everything that's playing out, that is exactly how I need to experience and to play a role on this playground I call Earth. Because the more we have been conditioned, the more, let's put it this way, the more we map out our life, we reduce life to a certain category. And that's what we've done. Because we put so much focus on one way of life, one way of perceiving the experience of life, what ends up happening is we specify, if that's such a word.
What's that again?
Specify.
If you can't say it twice, then it can't be a word.
I trip over my words.
Sure, that's good, honey.
Okay. All right. We create specific. I was trying to say specificify, but I don't. Okay, maybe it's not even a good word to, because if I can't pronounce it,
I think it's a great word, sweetie.
we put it on our our
I
dictionary.
think so.
Okay, all right. So by following a map and so forth, we reduce life to a specific category, and we have all done that to one way or another. Now you will notice, and many of us already have been noticing for some time, others have been noticed just recently and so forth, that those, what can you call, certain categories, certain way of life for you no longer matches, no longer resonates, no longer even feels of interest to you and so forth. Why? Because at the same time, you're now noticing that mapping your life is not the way we function. Because you're becoming more you, more true to you, more clear to yourself. So you're now noticing that, hey, wait a minute, let me look at it. I'm not choosing specific parameters any longer that I invested a lot of time, and I don't live that particular category. I want to be wide open, free, playful, and imaginative. Our world is going through a transformation. You cannot deny it. All of us see it. We can go in denial, absolutely. But all of us that have kind of opened more of our eyes are seeing it. And what are you seeing? Yeah, you're seeing the old crumbling. The old world, the old you, all of your so-called attachments, connections, and definitions and labels, all of that is collapsing. But at the same time, inside you're feeling a renewal, an excitement. Because as the old crumbles, you can now implement the new more and more. You don't have to wait for it to crumble. You're already doing it. But you do it within you. You do it with your immediate environment or reality, your extended layers of realities. And you just do that because the thing is, what we've lived for the last 10,000 years was never the design that we implemented 15,000 years ago as a way of life, as what we wanted to experience within a physical form on a playground. We're talking a multidimensional planet with a multidimensional sentient beings and multidimensional self. Every part of us is multidimensional. And every part of us is source itself, as what we call spirit, which is source in creation. So we have many, many facets of multidimensionality into this. But our multidimensionality has been limited to a very inverted one dimension of sorts. And that's the part that we're dissolving. Where we are living pure harmony, pure collaboration, cooperation, flourishing, no longer survival, no longer fear, no longer any of that old stuff that we played before. All right. So, just to put it in other words, we have significantly reduced ourselves to an artificial life construct. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah.
We reduced ourselves to an artificial life construct. What we've been living in this inverted matrix, inverted world, inverted 3D, 2D, is an artificial construct. It was never our original intent. However, it was introduced, it was implemented, we chose to come and experience it, and now, for the first time, in the last 3 decades or so, we made a commitment to bring it back to its original design and way beyond. To reactivate everything to its purest design and much more. So yes, we reduced it to an artificial life construct. And it was artificial because it was restricted. Because it did not allow us to be our innate pure, expansive, multidimensional contributor, designer, creator that we are. We tuned ourselves so down physically through our human entity and our multidimensional soul to experience a playground that was deeply reduced in its capacities, not even close to emanate the shadow of its true design. So, dramatically reduced our true nature and our capabilities. And that's what's happened. That artificial construct disconnected us from our true nature, because a lot of people talk about human nature. True nature is violent, greedy, possessive, wanting to control, wants power, all of that. That is the artificial construct. Our true nature is not even close to any of that at all. And the capacities are what we're capable of experiencing on many levels. Our capabilities, we've reduced it to the point we didn't even recognize who we are. We associated ourselves with that construct, that artificial construct that is in a limited, malfunctioning, survival, physical representation of what we call existence. And that's what we've done. And that was cool. You had a blast every step of the way. I did. We all did. As much as that may have been the great experience, and that's, it has been a great experience to live this artificial life construct. It was an experience that you couldn't have otherwise. Without it, you couldn't have had that level of experience. But, and quite enriching, because it was enriching. It doesn't matter how much we thought we needed to judge it, compare it. It was enriching. We got to experience a lot of interesting things that was never experienced before. You're in a multidimensional body, in a multidimensional planet, having a one-dimensional state of artificial, and having massive polarity, massive separation, massive disconnect. However, there's a point when we are ready to meet more of ourselves. Because this is what we want to do, is meet more of ourselves. Discover more of ourselves, to access more of ourselves, to utilize more of ourselves. Not that limited artificial version that we've adopted for eons in the time that we've been here. So, meeting more of ourselves and experience life on your expanded terms. Your expanded terms. Not on a dictated idea of terms that is one-dimensional, that is inverted. All cool, all great, all celebration time. Pop the champagne or whatever you want to call it. Let's have fun because that was great. But now, it's time to play in our expanded terms. And that is very playful, very, very open, free, flourishing of yourself. Bringing the multidimensional into play, seeing who you are and experiencing it here. So, how do we move out of our so-called emotional pit? Kimberly, take it away. How do we get out of our emotional pit?
First, we have to recognize that we're in an emotional pit.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can't take it too seriously, even though it can be serious at times. It seems very serious. For me, I just go and have some time alone and do a lot of writing. If it's a serious emotional pit, sometimes I just go for a walk and know that it's going to move through me and I'm just clearing something out and I don't have to take it too seriously and just let it ride through. Because sometimes I think they do just come up, some of these emotional triggers, just to be cleared, and we don't have to do a heck of a lot to do. We just have to allow it to come up and be released. It's when we hold on to them and take them seriously that they create more problems for us.
Beautiful. Just some other points. See it as a game. You've come here to play. You came here to bring yourself to another level of play. That it's always been play. As much as it has been projected as serious, life and death, because the life and death does not hold water. You're immortal, infinite being that steps in one reality to another, one physical playground to another. You are always, always in existence. Each and any one of you that has had lives before have seen you go from one life to the next. You design your lives. You go and choose where you want to go play. You're not restricted on this playground. You have multiple playgrounds, and the parts of you that are right now designed to be here for the time being can relocate, can express itself differently, and can do a lot that is not restrictive. So looking at anything, so when you're in the so-called emotional pit, you can do the process that I've shared many times now, where first you can let yourself be present with whatever you're feeling, the emotional charges, whatever it is. I welcome you, express. I choose to feel you, see you in your fullest state. I welcome you, like I said. Come on in. Let's play. Let's experience. I acknowledge you. I thank you. I thank you. I love you. And then you call in your soul. My multidimensional soul, fully embody. Activate my highest version of home frequency that I can now utilize in my body. I activate the highest level of source essence, which includes consciousness or whatever. I now embody pure love. And I invite my innate physical consciousness to be fully present in this beautiful dance. And then you remind yourself, it's a game. It's a beautiful, elaborate game that I have freedom to redesign. We are here to play. I am here to play. And play I will do. No limits. I will play. And we are free in that play. We are free to design every facet of that. Just doing those little bits of the process. Please take the time to re-listen to this a few times, especially this part here for that. Because what ends up happening, it shifts your state. This thing called the ego is a bit of a skillful little bugger. Because it's going to say, oh, it's not going to work. Oh, I'm in too deep of an emotional pit right now. I am too depressed to do this. Smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors. I gotcha, if I can convince you that. So when you see that happening, you say, oh, ego, I love you. I thank you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Come over here for a hug. Ego, I hug you. I love you. You're awesome. And I set you free. And then you do the process I just shared with you. You'll see this emotional pit will shift. And each time you do it, it shifts some more. And you embody more of this. It's a game. I know the ego, when you say it's a game, the ego goes, what do you mean it's a game? It's life and death. It's this, it's that. Oh, really? Thank you. Arrivederci. Go play outside. Go play outside. Because to me, it's a game. And I choose to stay there. And I'm here to play. And I'm going to play. I'm going to rock every part of it. And I am free to play. I am free to be me. And who you are is this expansive, limitless being that has come here to do what? Play. Okay, girl? Mm-hmm. Are we doing that?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what else we got on the list here. So the question. You have a question?
I have a question. I think I'm going to put it in now while we're still on this, because instead of adding it to the questions after.
Okay.
Is that okay? Because I see this happening too, even with myself sometimes, around the intensity of what's going on. Because it can be intense, and a couple of people have asked about this, about feeling empty, feeling blank, feeling a blank state. Where do I get my cues? I don't know what I want to create. Feeling stuck, don't know where to start. So if we're in that space and we're being emotionally triggered, if you don't have something you can focus on, is that going to be problematic? Because we are kind of feels like to me sometimes we're in a kind of a flux state. We're kind of an in-between state between old and new, and I think it feels like until we get all our ducks in a row kind of in a way, or make some more shifts, that we're still in our transition state. So it can be feel like we're lost maybe, and that we don't have a direction. When we do, it's not maybe what we think it should look like or feel like, and so maybe we're judging it where we're at, and we don't need to do that.
You expect me to answer that?
Yeah, I'm asking for your input right at this moment, please, my dear.
Short circuit. Okay. So did I spell that empty correct?
Empty, yes. E-M-T-Y. I don't think there's an I in there, sweetheart.
I don't think so.
Oh, no, there's something missing. Oh, P.
Oh, that's right. There you go. Thank you. All right. So as part of the transition from the old you to the new you, you're going to feel empty for a period of time. And that's not always there, because you get a taste of this, then you get a taste of this, and then this is kind of in between, and so forth. When you feel that emptiness, realize that you are in construct, or how can I say it, in construction mode, or in a mode where you're now starting to say, okay, let me look at what's there. Now that's happening on a superconscious state, so that you may not be so conscious of it at the time. So what are you going to end up doing? If you're feeling that way, not knowing what direction, you make that statement. And if you want to do the exercise, which I would highly recommend, write down, I do not know what's next. I don't know what steps to take, or whatever comes up. I don't know what my new world looks like. Okay? You can write it out. And then say, okay, what can we just imagine now as a potentiality, which is wide open? And just jot different things, because as you're jotting different things, it kind of starts to create a shape. Now, of course, like I said earlier today, through the conversation here, is that you have to be open to let it flow, or whatever it is. Many times, as we're letting go of the old and we're not crystal clear of the new, and the new is really just accessing that imagination within yourself, we may feel empty. We may feel just exhausted, don't know where to put our focus in or anything of that nature. Whenever you're in that state, just give yourself the opportunity to say, okay, I don't know, but I'm open. Higher self, share with me whenever you're ready, whenever I'm ready. But right now, this is all I know, so I'm going to just do this or that, whatever that may be. And if it just means sleeping, that's fine too. If it means that you carry on with your routine, that's fine too. But at the same time, you're open. I am open to step into that new world, and let's see how that shapes. Present to me, which is basically your highest aspect presenting to you, to that aspect of yourself that you've related with for so long as the human defined name pattern, that expanded part of us. Many of us, because we've been so disconnected from our true beingness, and we've only related to this artificial construct of ourselves, that we will kind of linger in the emptiness for a little while, because you don't know what to do next, and the old doesn't match anymore. The stuff that you did before doesn't feel viable for you. It's not interesting, or you're not interested in it. But the new stuff is really not unfolding. So that's kind of the void. In the void, there's pure potentiality. In the void, when you allow the void to be, when you allow that space just to be, then, and you're not resisting it, and you're not trying to find your attachment to one or the other, or going, okay, I got to jump into the new, and I don't have to hold on to the old. In that void, it starts to shape things. Clarity starts to come, and you start to experiment. If you can write it out, it helps. Journal it, whatever it is. And then review it time to time, because that only expands it further, because every time you review, you'll write even more. And that's kind of helps you, because that void is very prevalent these days. Because every time the surge comes along energetically, it crumbles more of the old version of ourselves, and the new version is still in expansion or developing of sorts. And you're going to experience the void, but then there's also the tug of war sort of thing happening between the one and the other. So you just allow yourself to be in that void, to be in that emptiness, and in that emptiness, because we're kind of conditioned and programmed that we always have to be full. You know, I don't know if it was a Chinese proverb or some other proverb of some sort, is for you to allow new things, new fresh tea or whatever, new things to come in. You have to empty your vessel. And the emptying the vessel is what we've been doing. And some of us have been doing it for a while, some of us less. So you're emptying the vessel. What you're taking out is the old you. So you're going to experience emptiness as the new starts to slowly pour in. And the more you allow the emptiness to be there, more of the new starts to flow in. And you're basically allowing that flow to come in, because you're creating that flow. You're bringing in the vessel the new part of you. So it's just a matter of accepting that without having any reactive part, because it's again once again it's always the ego that likes to react. Is there anything else you wanted to throw in? I know you mentioned about, being alone, being quiet, taking some time to when you're feeling that emptiness and so forth, which gives you energy. Because again, when you are doing that, when you're in nature and things of that nature, and you're in quiet without being distracted so much, it gives you a chance to have a more connection to yourself. And then when you're in nature, you're connecting with other aspects of yourself, which are more in its natural state than, the rest of the artificial construct that's all around us all the time. Go ahead.
I guess it would just be not to judge it and to know that everything is the way it's supposed to be. And we are going through some immense changes right now. And none of us really know exactly how it's going to look all the way across the board. We have to be patient and allow things to unfold. And just, it's really about, for me anyways, about being in the moment and not projecting anything. And of course, again, the judgment is big. So it's like doing what you need to do to stay in your space of love and holding that space no matter what's going on around you, and whatever it takes to do that. So if that means take some distractions out of your life, or have some alone time, or do some writing, or do something that brings you some joy, a project, or just something creative and fun. It can be anything, and do that.
Perfect. Thank you for that. All right, guys, you got something to play with there. Okay. Let's take this out. See what we got left. Woo! I don't know if we're ready for this one. Should I scratch it out?
What's that?
Time for you to start play at a new level. You think people are ready to play?
I do think they're ready. That's why we're all here.
Okay. Does that mean I gotta play too?
That's correct.
Darn. Okay. So yes, here we are. Time for you to start play. For you to start to play at a new level. Because we've all been playing. We've been playing in the same backyard of sorts, in our limited playground. We've all been playing with certain rules. We've all been playing with other ideas, old concepts ideas, handed down definitions. But now, it's to play free, to play expanded, to a whole new level, where you supersede all the rules and things that you've limited yourself to play with before. It was fine to play those limits. Perfect. But now it's time for it to play a new level. Playing a new level discovers a new you. Playing a new level gives you more power to create or access more of your creative ability to create new realities, expanded reality, fluid reality, limitless reality. And to play at another level changes the whole collective reality. The playground changes. The power we have to shape our playground is mind-blowing. We do not even use or scratch the surface on it. What we are capable of doing, we seem to have localized as in effort, physical organization, physical structuring, physical suffering, sacrificing, and all of that. But we can create, because that's our true design, with none of that as a requirement. And now we're choosing no longer to do it that way. You were going to say something? Mm-hmm. No? Okay. So, time to Start. Why didn't I just change that? Start playing at a new level. Playing. So Kimberly wants to play, and she wants to share. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we don't have much time for questions.
Questions.
So
We still have that?
yeah.
Let me see.
You're done?
Oh, there it
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to just, I want to do some of the ones from last week because we
Okay.
had some leftovers. And
All right.
there's one here, though, from today that I think is important to just take a look at quickly.
Important. Okay.
And it is hard to feel excited about playing with grief or anger. I still hate the sensation in my body when I have those feelings.
Yes, because you're judging the feeling. If you drop the judgment about it, and I know sometimes it could seem very difficult to do so. I'm going to put this down here. I don't think I need any of this right now. Our tendency, we've been programmed, conditioned to judge feelings and experiences that somehow we've labeled as good, bad, right, wrong. Okay? So if we drop the judgment about it, can you repeat that last part again? Because I'm missing a
Hard
word
to feel
here.
excited about playing with grief or anger. I
Okay.
still hate the sensation in my
Okay.
body when I have those feelings.
Okay, so the grief and anger, huge for a lot of people. So the thing is, allow it to come in. I invite you, grief and anger, fully present, express, experience, share, whatever. Let's go for it. Do not judge it. Don't label it good, bad, right, wrong. Just allow it to play out. Thank you, share. I want to understand it. You know, as it's sharing, I acknowledge you. I understand. I'm willing to listen. I am willing to work with you because we are here together. So as you're doing that, yes, you know, you could say, well, this is not exciting. But yes, it is, because if the moment we say, I choose to be excited about the grief and anger that I have because it's talking to me, it's sharing with me, because I'm having these experiences and I don't see anything wrong with it. So I welcome it full throttle. You will notice that it will intensify in most cases for a short period of time because you're allowing it to flow, because you're allowing it to express itself. It will no longer become rigid and no longer need to stay in that state or repeat itself. It starts to fade because it's being expressed. It's being accepted as is because it's just an experience. It's just an emotional charge that is moving through you. But it needs to be expressed first, and it will be expressed. So when I'm talking about expression, and not about lashing out and whatever else. If you feel to do that, you can, but that's the last thing you want to do. You want to allow yourself to feel it completely, to be present with whatever is playing out. And you can say to yourself as you're going through it, I choose to experience this with excitement. And I am excited that I'm feeling the anger, I'm feeling the frustration, I'm feeling the what was the other word? Grief,
But
yes.
I don't know if I could feel excited about feeling grief. I don't know if we need to feel excitement about it. I think that we have to just allow it to move through us because I've experienced some intense grief in the last year and I couldn't have gotten excited about it. I just allowed it to move through me and realized it was there and I was releasing stuff because there was other stuff attached to it. But I guess after the fact, you can be excited that you were able to release it. But I don't think in the moment, as humans, I don't know that you can
as ego, yeah.
As ego.
Yeah.
But I mean, the human, you know, they get sadness for stuff that, you know, so say a family member leaves, passes, or something like that. I think that's a normal process to go through.
Yeah, you can do that, exactly. You can allow it to move through you. If you add the extra juice where you're excited about the grief, of the experience of grief, of the program of grief, the emotional charge of grief, it moves through you a lot faster, because grief, it can be very sticky. It can be very thick and heavy at sorts. You can do that at first, and you can see it move. But as you become excited about that experience, because it is just that, it's an experience. The thickness, the stickiness and heaviness is the definition that we've applied in possible judgment. We applied to the experience. I'm not saying you're not going to experience the grief. Yeah, you have a loss. You're going to let the grief really play out, because it is part of the human experience at this point in time, how it's conditioned and programmed. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So allow yourself to experience it. Allow it to be present. Allow it to... A lot of times people are trying to stop the grief or mitigate the grief, or feeling that in some way there's something wrong with the grief and so forth, or because it's so uncomfortable I don't want to have it. The point is, don't apply any of that. Just say, okay, I'm experiencing grief. I'm choosing to experience grief fully. And as it's playing out for you for a little while, let it just move through you, feel it, and so forth. Then you can make the statement to yourself, I choose to be excited about feeling grief, feeling that sensation that comes with the grief and whatever else. And what it does is it actually changes the density and the frequency, the vibration of it, so that it's less sticky and it can move through you a lot quicker. Does that make any sense to you? You can say no, or yes, or maybe not.
Yeah, I think it's that makes sense. I mean, we can be excited for it after. I just think we're still in that process of letting go of certain things, and sometimes hard to put the two opposing emotions together at the same time.
Yeah, but when you bring the two opposing emotions, it does actually bring it to a form of neutralization, in a sense, so that it is not, even though you don't
I
swing
guess I
from
just
one,
really
yeah.
didn't want people to think that grieving's not allowed, or that
Oh,
there's
no,
something
no.
wrong with it, or anything like that, because
Good
there
point.
isn't. It is part of our process that we go through
Mhm.
when something comes up, and then it's okay to grieve. It's just not staying in that space or attaching more program to it or more judgment to it after the fact, like, and holding it. It's moving through it, letting it go, and then celebrating from there. And it's just not holding it and allowing it to rule your life, as you would say,
Mhm.
or dictate how you are going to be in every day. So if you stay in grief and can't get out of it, then there's a problem with that, because then it takes away from your
Yeah,
natural experience.
yeah, exactly. And the thing is, grief is very easy. It's very seductive, alluring. Many people get caught up in milking the grief, and I'm not saying they're doing it on purpose, but they're allowing themselves to live in that grief way longer than is necessary. None of it is really necessary, but then it is part of the process, like Kimberly was saying. But the last thing you want to do is to associate yourself with other people that just keep saying, oh, I feel bad for you, or this or that, because that kind of extends, gives it more realism, extends the grief even further, so that it takes longer to process it through you. Sometimes when people are saying, I'm sorry for you, it may accentuate it, and it'll move through a lot faster because of the fact that you get to the intensity that maybe it wasn't coming up for you. But on a lot of occasions, it ends up just, extending it further. And you're going to get, after you've spent a bit of time, and you choose to bring excitement to the grief, because it is part of that, what, like even Kimberly said, a part of the human experience. And that really accentuates things so that it can move through you a lot quicker. And that's the thing. Even trauma is the same thing. A lot of people get stuck into trauma and keep milking it over and over and over. This is what happened to me. This is what happened. They all repeat the story a million times to different people, whoever listens or wherever it is. But what you're doing is basically at that point in time, you're just extending it and refeeding it. And instead of, okay, you know, this is what I associated, this was trauma to me and whatever else. So you allow yourself to experience it. And then step into that excitement that the trauma was experienced and what you learned from it and so forth. And then it just moves through you a lot quicker.
So
I know some of these things you're going to have to practice with because it may not be automatic default because of the fact that we've established a different default for the longest time. But the more you play with it, you practice with it, you'll see it moves a lot faster. It gets easier, and that becomes your new default, and everything is about play then.
yeah, 'cause so even in grief, once you do move through it, then and if you are bringing in your highest awareness from that, your highest perspective, you can see the other side of that, and like you say, that human aspect kind of is not there anymore. Like you're not looking at it through your ego, human mind. You're looking at it through the highest aspect of
Correct.
who you are.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go on to another question, and then you can decide if you want to do another one after that, because it's
Okay.
already after
Do you have
6.
a lot of them? in the queue?
Yes, we're not going to do them all.
Okay.
So this is from last week.
Okay.
I'm finding it increasingly challenging to relate to money. Do you have anything to share in this regard?
Well, you know, the thing is, as your energy increases, as your vibration increases, as your frequency increases, because you go into your higher ranges of frequency, and your vibration increases, your state of consciousness, your energy increases, you're going to find that playing the money game does not relate, does not, what's the word? Why can't I think of that word? Align with you any longer. So the point is, the value in it, the need for it, and all of that stuff may still be somewhat there because you're still playing in the game somewhat, but your effort is not going to be playing the money game, acquiring it, needing it in the sense of survival mode or anything of that nature. So what I would recommend is to recognize that, yes, as I'm changing, the value in it, the energy in it, the investment in it is going to fade, and that's okay. However, because I'm playing in the game and certain resources are not there or something like that, you may still introduce it, but it's not going to dictate you or control you. It's just something that moves through you, and when you do that, it flows to the state that is required for you to do whatever is necessary or beneficial as you move along. So there are many, many people that have noticed that not only money, possessions, certain relationships, certain careers, certain friendships, do change because you're changing, and those represent different facets. So sometimes newer things will come in, like newer relationships, newer careers, or newer friendships, or whatever it is at that point in time, and a different view of money as, okay, something to play with at this point in time, but it doesn't dictate me, but at this point is something that I need to experience it. I don't relate with the money. I don't do the money game, but at the same time, we know that we have to pay rent, food, do whatever else, keep all these services on. So we do what we do, and we allow people to contribute and so forth. And we're not building any nest egg or anything like that. Yeah, well, of course, we're paying off debts and things of that nature. But at the same time, we're not panicking in the sense, oh, God, I got to pay off my debt, or got to do this or that. We're maintaining what we're maintaining. Where we can do it, we do it, but it's really staying at flow. I know that I have some well-meaning family members that think I'm totally insane for being in the state that we're in, where as they say, at your age and your state of whatever you're doing, that you're not looking after your future, you're not looking after your retirement or anything like that. Well, for me, there is no retirement. I mean, I'm going to do what I love to do which is this and much more along the way. But with the offerings that I have, I can do a lot to generate a lot of money, for example, but I don't have interest in that. That's why I put all of this content for free. I let people contribute to the degree that they choose to contribute. Of course, it is highly appreciated, the contributions and so forth, but I don't put it behind paywalls. Yes, I do workshops time to time and I let people contribute, but even that, we have a suggested price and then people offer what they can. Because I'm not putting I'm not putting that great of importance in it, but it's still something that we are using at this time. Along the way, we'll notice that the necessity for it and all that stuff will all dissolve, and eventually money won't even be part of our human experience altogether. That'll be a little further down the road. We're not talking, centuries or anything like that. We're talking a decade and a bit, So that's all in the works as it is.
More question?
Sure.
Or what do you? Okay.
Is that
yeah?
Is that the last one from last week, or do we have more?
No. There's a couple from
Okay.
last week. Couple more after that.
Okay. Let's go for it, and then we'll see.
What this one?
This one. Yeah.
Okay. I have always accessed my intuition and channel with my source beings, higher self, now 62. I choose to have the V after my research and without fear. I also choose to live on at this time as that is my contract. I have a knowing that I still have more to give to the collective. I can transmute all negative energies. I feel that you didn't address this if people decide to have the V.
Well, again, it's up to you. It's up to everybody if they choose or not. Making the choice, you have your own reasoning. You definitely want to look at the reasoning behind it for you. I'm not saying for everybody. For you, each one of you. Look at the reasoning. Why am I choosing this or not? And if you're choosing it because there's a fear, or if I have it, I will have freedom, or if I have it, I may not, get the other, virus or whatever it is. Look at it if it's fear-based or if it's just a pure choice of just having the experience, and that will just give you an indication what's the back end of all of that. If you choose and it feels most aligned for you and there's no fear behind it, there is no, if I do this then I have freedom to travel or this or that, because the moment you feel that you have to have something to have something else, like freedom to travel or freedom, then you're playing in disempowered state, possibly victim state, and then you're saying, okay, I'm going to give the empowerment to whoever is providing the offering. Okay? This is a choice you make. Okay? Now, if you choose it, for example, fine, it doesn't matter. If you choose it, it can alter you, but the choice is yours. If it's going to minimize your access, it is designed for that, but it's up to you if you're going to take full active to it. It's up to you if it's going to give you a negative reaction, and it's up to you if you want to bring it to the next level that it's going to be your exit out. It's up to you to decide it doesn't do absolutely nothing. You take it and it's fine. It's up to you. You are the one. But when you are in that empowered state, you're not going to have fear that it's there or not there, but you're also making a choice by tuning into the vibration of the V, okay, or the jab, or whatever you want to call it, and see if it actually fits into the vibration and frequency of your body. If it does, that's fine. You have whatever experience you choose. There's no right, wrong in any choice you make, but every choice has many options of how to be experienced, and each choice has a stage and a certain frequency and vibration in it that will enhance one experience over another. What I've seen with the people that have chosen to go that, it does alter them. Some will have negative experience. Some will use to exit. Some doesn't display any real difference at this point in time. And everybody's got their own reason why they choose one over the other. I do not judge anyone what they choose to do, because they're another aspect of me or an aspect of ourselves or whoever we are, and everybody's free to have their own experience. Whatever they entail to be involved in the experience is up to them. How far they want to go, that's great. Now, some will take it on to experience the transmutation component, meaning I will take it on and transmute it, re-encode it. I will have whatever experience may come with it, but I'm going to rewrite it so that it creates an opening from a collective perspective. You will know if that's something that you are choosing and feeling very powerful, able to do. So it's up to you. As for the question comes up at times, people ask, well, how about, someone that have felt that they had no choice, but they had to do it. Remember, everybody has a choice, but even if it played out in that fashion, under the belief of no choice, and to play a role for certain individuals that you're connected with, or to have an experience and then choose to negate it, there are going to be codes that will be enacted from our brother sister souls, or some people like yourselves that may choose to transmute it or go through the process of transmutation to be able to encode what that transmission process would be about, or how it can be preceded and used for other individuals that choose to. It has an intent, it has a frequency, the V, or the jab, or whatever you want to call it, but it's up to you what you do with it. Hopefully that brings enough clarity. Please comment if not, but that's the what I can say about that. I'm hoping that I covered it enough.
Okay, do you want to end there for today?
Yeah, there's no other related ones to that.
To the one you just did?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So we'll play with it next Tuesday.
Yeah. So we'll just continue. Anybody, if you had a question in the chat, they just get transferred for next week, and hopefully we get to them.
Yes. We never know how long the topics are, and what the importance, and how we have to elaborate the topics to help you or to provide you the accessibility to transform or transmute or to shift your reality. So if the topics don't need as much elaboration, then we'll have more time for Q&A. So we'll have to play it by ear, by week by week, how things flow. But we will intend to address as many and all of them at one point or another.
Okay.
All right. So thank you guys. Thank you for co-creation of this, and for playing together, and for being beautiful, active beings that you are, and going out there and playing in the playground with all of us, and really shifting the playground, shifting yourself, and shifting the whole human experience to a level that we have all come to express and experience along the way. So till next Tuesday, go out and have a blast.